Okay guys, today's flipped lesson is on adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. So that's when our two fractions have different numbers on the bottom. So just like earlier in the week when we were comparing fractions with different denominators on the bottom, I told you that we couldn't do that. That was like comparing an apple to an orange. So we had to make sure that they were the same before we went any further. So we're going to have to do the exact same thing in today's lesson. So we'll go ahead and go to the first slide. And you can see we have 2/9 plus 1/5. So we have a 9 and a 5, and we're not allowed to have that. They both have to be exactly the same in order to add them. So we have to find equivalent fractions that have the same denominators. So first thing we have to do is set up our two fractions on the side, and then we can multiply. We use that trick where you can just multiply your 9 and your 5, or you could always use your least common denominator or the least common multiple. But the easiest way is just to multiply 9 times 5, and we get 45. So we're going to put 45 as our new denominator. This one's not going to show up. There we go. We'll use 45 as the new denominator. So now we're going to make our equivalent fractions. So we have to ask ourselves, how do we get from 9 to 45? And we know that that's times 5. So if we multiply the 9 times 5, we're also going to multiply the 2 times 5. And we know that 2 times 5 is 10. And now we can move down to our 1/5. To get from 5 to 45, we multiply times 9. So we also have to multiply the 1 times 9. 1 times 9 is, of course, 9. Now we have common denominators in equivalent fractions. So we have 10/45 plus 9/45, and we can go ahead and add the numerators. Remember, we do not touch the denominators. We're not going to add those. So 10 plus 9 is 19, and we keep the 45 on the bottom. All right, let's do one more example. Okay, so we have 3/8 plus 1/3. Again, we have an 8 and a 3, and that's not allowed. They both have to have the same denominator. So we set up our fractions on the side, and we're going to make equivalent fractions that have the same number on the bottom. So we'll use the trick 8 times 3, which is 24. And this one's not going to work either. There we go. Okay, so we have 24 on the bottom of each of our new fractions. To get from 8 to 24, we multiply by 3. So then we multiply the top by 3 and get 9. Now on the bottom, we're multiplying by 8 because 3 times 8 is 24. So we do 1 times 8 and also get 8. And the last step is to, of course, add our numerators. 9 plus 8 is 17, and we keep the 24 on the bottom. Now, one last thing to keep in mind. If this answer can be simplified, you should always simplify it to its lowest terms. If it happens to be an improper fraction, you need to turn it into a mixed number. I don't think you're going to get any problems like that today, but you can keep that in mind for the future. Okay, so if you need to watch this again, go ahead and restart it. If you feel confident that you understand what we're doing, then you may go ahead and click off this video and try some of the practice games and then take the quiz at the end. Have a good day.